Hi, Calvary Prep Academy. This is Mr. Beck, and just here to talk to you about something really important that we're going to be doing in the next couple of weeks at our school. As you know, we're in the middle of our 6-year accreditation cycle, and this is actually the time in that cycle when we are going to have a team visiting us for 4 days, and they're going to be looking over every aspect of our school, as we've also done, and they're going to compare our report with what they observe, and they're going to send that up to the committee in Sacramento, and they're going to make a vote on our accreditation. So it's a good process that we go through as a school. I want to talk to you about some really important things about accreditation. And so bear with me. This is going to be a little bit longer video than you might be used to, but think of it more like a school assembly. Take a seat there, grab some popcorn, grab your folks, and we'll spend a little bit of time talking about this because it's really important to you. Not only us as the school staff, but also to you as a student. So let me tell you about why that is. So accreditation is a process that schools go through voluntarily, and it's almost like a gym membership for schools. You have a personal trainer, and you're setting goals, and you're making progress, and then you're evaluating how you're doing. That's exactly what accreditation is, but for a school. So what we do is we look at everything that the school's doing, everything from academics to governance to finances, all around the board. And we look at how the school is performing and what areas we can grow. Then we set a goal. It's called a strategic plan. And then we periodically make updates and see how we're doing with that plan. And every 6 years, we take another deep look at our school and see if there's maybe some new things that we need to be working on. So for those of you who just joined this semester or even this school year, this is something that we've been working on as a school for 12 months. And so we've done a really thorough evaluation of our school and our program. And we sent a report up to the commission. So the name of our accreditation agency is called WASC. That's short for Western Association of Schools and Colleges. It's the same accreditation that was going to accredit all the traditional public and private schools all throughout California and even the Pacific, all the way to Hawaii and even Guam. And actually, some people are accredited by WASC worldwide. And it's a very difficult accreditation to maintain, and we are glad to be part of it. So the WASC process involves a 6-year study, and we're at this process where we're going to have a 4-day visit. It's actually 3 days, but they come a little early on Sunday. So I'll talk about that in just a minute. So just to review what we've done so far in the WASC process. So about a year ago, we started developing all the research that we put into the report. It's a 150-page single space, so it's a big report, and we looked at all the research from our school demographic, all the data, test scores, who works here, credentials, all of that fun stuff. And we put together that into the report, and then we started putting together teams that were going to focus on different areas. And so there was a group that focused on how the school's organized. There's a group that focused on curriculum, instruction, assessment. There's a group that focused on school culture, and then there's a group that focused on resource planning and management. So those are the 4 groups that we had. They met regularly throughout the last 10 to 12 months, and a lot of times they sent questions to you via surveys, end of the year surveys, or just special surveys we did in the spring about the ESLers, which I'll talk about in a minute, about curriculum. There were questions written right into the daily discussion forum. A lot of teams met and looked at the document. We had input from the parent ambassador community. We had input from the student leadership team and a lot of others that helped contribute, as well as all of our staff working countless hours. So the result is the document, and the document is going to be linked below. The first 35 pages, they describe what I just told you, everything about the school, our teachers, our staff, our board members, our credentials, student demographics, how many are from this area, this state, this country, how many are this ethnicity, how many are male, female, all of those demographics, our test scores, and then it's basically a big report card for the school. Then In the middle are those chapters I just told you about, chapters 3A and D. And those are the groups that met, and they answered a lot of questions and then provided evidence. So that's really the meat, the bulk of the report is that chapters 3A through D. And so then the last part at the very end is page 147. And these are the 4 areas that we identified as an entire school as the most critical areas for improvement for our school. And so this really is the end product, is we have these 4 areas on page 147. And the result is, using those 4 areas on page 147, we created a plan for the next 6 years. This plan is going to help us to make sure that we make progress in those 4 areas. And so that 6 years from now, when we do another evaluation of our school, all those needs have been met. So that's on page 149. So in that document, we don't expect everyone to read the 150-page single page space document. That's a lot of work. But if you want to, you can look through the first 30 pages, look at some of those graphs and charts. It's really pretty interesting. We sent that out earlier in the spring of last year, but you can revisit it. And then also, I would encourage you to really look at page 147, those areas of growth, and maybe even the strategic plan at pages 149. If it's too much, don't worry about it, but really strongly encourage you to look at those areas of growth. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about what to expect between now and the visit. Okay, so the visit is March 14th, 15th, 16th, and 17th. So we have a little less than 2 weeks before the visiting team is going to come, and I'll talk about that. So before the visit, I encourage you to look at the study, the link below, especially those 4 areas of growth on page 147. And then also, there's another thing, just to review the ESLers. Do you remember we looked at these? They're in your student handbook, your orientation. You talk about them in the discussion forum. And then we do surveys on the ESLers at the end of every year. But the ESLers stands for Expected School-Wide Learning Results. So this is what we expect of our students. So just, it's good to familiarize yourself with these. If you go to calvaryonlineschool.com and you just type /ESLR, it'll take you to the ESLers. And these are what we expect our students to be as a result of attending our school. So I'm going to read these off just to familiarize yourselves with them once more. Calvary Prep Academy students are faith-filled Christ followers, motivated self-directed learners, critical and creative thinkers, proficient technology users, effective communicators, and academic achievers. Okay. So years ago, it used to be this trend that, the WASC team would want you to memorize those. As you can see, I'm using notes. So that's not expected anymore. It's much lighter. I'll talk about what the expectations are just in a minute. But because these are really valuable to us as a school, it's good for you to know them and be familiar with them. You're not going to be put on the spot and asked to recite the ESLers or to name all 12 of the disciples. So you're okay on that one, okay? So the week before the visit, this is one thing I want to talk to you about. That would be section 8 for those of you on full-time pacing. This is what you're going to be doing, section 8, the week before. But remember, you're going to be grading this and discussing it with your teachers during week 9, which is when the accreditation team is coming. So it's really important that during section 8, you're really putting in the best of your effort, because this is what you're going to be discussing in front of the accreditation team. So your section 8 work should be to the best of your ability, and it should also be college preparatory level. That means that we're, all of these expectations that we have, including academic ones, your best writing, your best research, bringing your grades up. This is really the time to put in an effort. And let me actually review back to the very beginning why we do accreditation. It's also extremely important because if you're not accredited as a school, then the work that you do as a student isn't recognized. So that means that if you apply to a college and it's not accredited, from the schoolwork isn't accredited, you're most likely not going to be accepted. You're not going to be accepted in the college sports. You're not going to be accepted into government jobs, which require an accredited diploma. So accreditation is really important to you, the student, just to make sure that you have that level of approval of the work that you're doing. And that's the level of work you want to be doing always, but especially Section 8, because that's what's going to be reviewed when you're meeting with your teacher during March 14th to 17th. Okay, so now let's talk about that actual visit, what to expect and who are these people. So during the visit, don't worry about the people that are coming. They're all extremely professional. They're all educated, credentialed teachers and administrators. They're volunteers, so they're doing this because they want to see schools grow and improve. I'm one of those people that goes to other schools. We don't do it to my school, but I go to other schools. I've gone to 14 other schools and served on the accreditation team. Sometimes I lead the team. And we look over other schools and we read their document and we find maybe some areas that we really need to encourage them. You're doing a great job. And then maybe this is an area you might have overlooked. So don't feel like this accreditation team, like they're IRS auditors. That's not the way that we should view them at all. These are fellow educators that are volunteering their time to help us as a school improve. And they really want to make sure that you, the students, are learning and that you're getting everything that you can in terms of support to be successful. So that's what we're talking about when we say this accreditation team. They're really friendly. They have full license to look at everything in our school. They can open up any file. They can look into notes. They can join any classroom with or without an appointment. They have basically the entire authorization to go throughout the entire school. They can look at the finances. And so we want to respect that. And so don't be surprised if you see one of these accreditation members, which we'll introduce. There's only 3 of them joining your classroom. And they're not going to be evaluating you as an individual. So don't feel that pressure. It's more that they're looking at trends and things school-wide. So they might be looking for examples of a particular strategy or examples of particular curriculum or how students are responding. Your name will never be brought up. It's always going to be like a school-wide observation. So don't feel any pressure individually. So then again, ultimately what they're trying to do is they're reading our report and they're making sure that it's what we've said about ourselves is accurate. So that's their goal. So one more thing I want to talk about those meetings. Sometimes there's different degrees of consistency in the use of webcams. I would really like to see everyone make a very strong effort to the best of your ability to use a webcam at the beginning of the appointment. I know it uses up internet speed and it can be problematic, but if you can make a strong effort to turn it on just to say hello, maybe see your teacher, especially if there's a WASC person there, they might turn on their webcam, hopefully, and just make it more friendly and cordial to see each other's faces, and then you can jump right into your meeting as normal. So not to make it long and awkward and drawn out the whole way, but really encourage you to use your webcam. Okay, so now lastly, I know this is a long meeting. I'm going to go over the calendar of different special meetings that will be taking place. So this is going to be when the WASC visiting team, when they meet with groups. Sometimes I'll be there, sometimes I won't. Sometimes it's just going to be with parents or just with students, so they can really hear everyone's voices together and also independently. So the first meeting is on Sunday, March 14th. This is actually for all school board members. And the board is going to meet with the WASC Accreditation team. And the board is extremely important for the health of the school. And so that's one of the first things they're going to do is meet with all of the board members. At 4:30 p.m., all these times are Pacific. on Sunday, March 14th, you'll have a schedule. At 4:30 p.m., we're doing a student panel for students who are in Japan or other time zones that need that late afternoon time. So 4:30 p.m. to 5:15 p.m. on Sunday, March 14th, it's students only meeting with the accreditation team. And this would be students in the Japan or other later time zones. The next morning, on Monday morning, March 15th, there's at 10 o'clock a.m., it's going to be, again, students, just students meeting with the accreditation team. There won't be teachers or parents or anyone. It's just the students, so you can really make sure your voice is heard. And this is, again, 10 a.m. Pacific. So we can try and honor everyone's different time zones. And that's why we have those two meetings split up right there. On that same Monday at 1 o'clock, focus groups A and D, if you were part of organization or if you were part of resource management, you're going to be meeting with the accreditation team. That's going to be everyone from parents, students, teachers, board members, staff, anyone who was part of those groups that looked at those chapters about organization or or resource management. Okay, likewise, at 2 o'clock on Monday, the 15th, it's going to be groups B and C. These are the groups that looked at curriculum, instruction, assessment, and also school culture. So I know the parent advisory committee and student leadership team. So if you are anyone from anything having to do with our school and you were part of that process, answering those questions, you're encouraged to join that meeting, 2 o'clock on Monday. Okay, parents, listen up. 4 o'clock on Monday, 4 o'clock p.m., all parents and the Parent Ambassador Committee, you're going to meet with the WASC team, and they want to hear from you parents and just to hear about the school, what you like about it, and your experiences. So that's going to be at 4 o'clock. And then at 4:45 on Monday, the student leadership, they're having their normal meeting, but expect that the WASC team will be joining your student leadership during that time, just to ask you some questions. Also, all clubs and all classrooms, they're going to try to make, not necessarily every appointment, but every teacher and every club, they're going to try to observe for some point of time. They won't be there the full hour. They'll just be there, just maybe like 15 minutes, 10 minutes to make some observations and then try to jump around to the other ones. Okay, and then on Tuesday, March 16th at 4:45 p.m., there's a meeting for alumni. So not only graduates, but also students who, attended our school, but maybe graduated somewhere else. Anyone who's like really has a legacy and views like an inheritance with Calvary Prep. We strongly encourage you to come and just talk about your experiences with the accreditation team. And then here it is, the very last one, folks. On Wednesday, March 17th at 12:30 p.m., this is when the accreditation team is going to discuss everything that they found, and they're going to report it back to us as an entire school. So this is an invitation to board members, staff members, teachers, parents, students, every alumni, everyone to hear what the accreditation team is going to be a Zoom meeting, and they'll just present what they found, and they'll talk about our strengths, and then they're going to confirm the areas of growth, and if they find any new ones, they'll add those too. So that's really the ultimate outcome, is that Wednesday, 12:30 p.m. on the 17th. So I should have said at the beginning, all these meetings will be, if they're special meetings like this, they'll be Zoom and we'll send you the link. But otherwise, you're just doing your normal student meetings in Adobe Connect and just business as usual. So that's it, folks. I know this is a nice long, almost 20 minutes, but think of it like an assembly, and we got an assembly done in 20 minutes. That's really quick. So I'm very grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so much for your voices. Thanks for helping to shape our school and to prayerfully consider where we're going from here for the next 6 years. And we couldn't do it without you. So you guys are all wonderful, and we will see you shortly, and take care. God bless.